Hey, soul survivors, we're going to talk about a viewer topic request about I had a false personal protection order placed against me. What can I do about it? And also, we're going to talk about why it's important, how it affects your life if you have one put against you, what kind of things that you can do to seek some damages. So, what first, I want to give a disclaimer. My degree is in criminal justice. I have been to Cooley Law School, but I am not an attorney. So this is to help you build upon your knowledge and follow up. But if you have this PPO in the United States, every country is different, every state is different. But it's important to review the order, obtain a copy of the protection order, carefully review the allegations made against you. Note the specific claims and any conditions or restrictions that are imposed by the order. You must remain calm and comply with all the terms of the protection order until it is resolved. Violating the order can have serious consequences. So even if you are in the right until this personal protection order is dropped, appealed, modified, you must follow it. And definitely document everything. Keep detailed records of any interactions or communications related to the alleged incidents. This can include things such as text messages, emails, or other relevant evidence that could help support your case. It's important to identify and contact any potential witnesses who can testify on your behalf. This can be anybody from friends, family members, even coworkers who have relevant information about the situation at hand. It's important to seek the assistance of a qualified attorney experienced in family or domestic law. You can file it on your own, but it's always advised to utilize or at least consult an attorney. They can provide guidance on the specific laws and also procedures in your jurisdiction and help you understand your rights. So let's say you have a brother-in-law up north, you're down south. It could have different laws depending on the jurisdiction. So make sure you talk to an attorney that is within your area of jurisdiction. So start to prepare for the hearing. If they schedule a hearing, your attorney can help you prepare a strong defense. They can involve presenting evidence, cross-examining witnesses, and challenging the allegations made against you. There is a way to file a motion to dismiss or modify. So in certain circumstances, you can be able to file a motion to dismiss, which means to get rid of this, or modify the protection order. And this will typically involve presenting new evidence or arguing that the order is not justified based on the facts presented. Sometimes it's a he said, she said, and sometimes the courts just want to keep it safe for everybody. So as much evidence as you have will help you. Appeal if necessary. You can appeal. Make sure that time is not of the essence, which it is, but find out how much time you have. So if the court order issues an order against you and you believe it's unjust, talk to your attorney about the possibility to appeal this decision. Now, appeals are subject to specific rules and deadlines. Make sure you know the deadlines. So it is important to act promptly. If you don't appeal within a certain amount of time, depending on your jurisdiction, you won't have the opportunity to appeal again. Some of these personal protection orders or restraining orders can be years long in certain circumstances. Usually they're about 6 months, maybe a year, but follow it until you get rid of it or it expires. Now, why would somebody file a false complaint? It can have various reasons, whether it's revenge or retaliation. I'm sorry, I'm so tongue-tied. Revenge or retaliation. A person can file this false complaint sometimes out of anger, resentment, or even just that desire for revenge. It can be in response to a perceived wrongdoing, a personal dispute, or a past conflict. They can sometimes want to seek leverage in legal matters, and by filing false complaints, it's strategic for them in their legal proceedings, such as divorce or custody battles, to gain an advantage or influence the outcome. They're not playing fair, basically. Sometimes people want attention or sympathy. Certain people can make false complaints to attract attention or sympathy from others or to justify their actions. This can be driven by a need for validation if you're dealing with a narcissist, support, or a desire to portray themselves as the victim. Sometimes there's two people wrong in the situation, but they want to be the ultimate victim. Certain cases, people may fabricate, which means make up complaints to divert attention away from their own actions, especially if they fear negative consequences for their reputation or legal standing. Kind of takes the shift and the focus off of them. Also, with the mental health issues, people that struggle mentally with their health can just make something up due to delusions. We have to remember there are delusions out there, paranoia, cognitive impairments, sometimes false memories. In some cases, they may genuinely believe the false information they are presenting. So when they go to court, it'll seem like they're telling the truth, and it is their truth, which is just false. So they're not going to have the physiological responses to be a red flag to the lying. So miscommunication and misunderstanding. In some instances, false complaints may arise from miscommunication or misunderstanding. People sometimes will misinterpret events, emotions, or even intentions, and this can lead to inaccurate accusations. They can also be a result of fear or pressure from others. An individual may be coerced or pressured by someone else to file a false complaint. It can be due to threats, manipulation, or a desire to fulfill someone else's agenda. Also, if there's a new love, to kind of prove that they're over you, all different kinds of situations. It can also have financial motives. False complaints may be filed for financial gains, such as obtaining a settlement or insurance payout. This can occur in various contexts, including personal injury claims or allegation of property damage, or just to control you. So if a false complaint, especially one resulting in protection order, stands, it can have significant and far-reaching consequences for various aspects of your life. This impact can be both personal and professional. So sometimes, we have to pick our battles. Is it worth fighting this? But it can have these type of consequences if somebody files this on you. Restrictions on contact. So protection orders often include restrictions, whether it's communication verbally, by email, or physical contact with the other person who filed the complaint. Be careful, because a lot of times they will try to reinstate the communication, but you are still liable for the consequences if you entertain the communication. So even if they seem like they're wanting to talk to you again, you're the one who bears the brunt of the consequences. So definitely don't talk to them until this is handled. Violating these restrictions can lead to the consequences, such as arrest, additional charges, criminal record. If the false complaint results in criminal charges, a conviction could lead to a criminal record, which can affect your employment sometimes. Or if you go to jail or prison, it can affect your ability to maintain a household, provide for things, or your relationships. This record will affect many aspects of your life. There can be professional repercussions, such as if your job requires a clean background. Some professions may have specific regulations regarding criminal convictions that could affect your ability to work in that field. Also, child custody and visitation issues. In family law cases, false complaints can impact child custody, visitation arrangements. The court may consider such allegations when making decisions in the best interest of the child. Sometimes it just depends on who they believe, too. And like I said, if you're dealing with somebody with mental health issues, they may believe it as a truth. So reputation damage. When somebody falsely accuses you of something, it can harm your personal and professional reputation. Even if they are proven false, the stigma may persist, and this can affect your relationships, your social standing. Dealing with these false accusations can be emotionally and psychologically taxing. It can lead to stress, anxiety, other mental health challenges, especially if the process is prolonged. take care of yourself during this time. Try not to get too anxious or stressed out about it. Definitely take care of your health. It's good to talk to people. But there are also sometimes financial consequences because of the legal battles, and the need for defense can be costly. There are legal fees, fines, and other expenses that can place a financial burden on you. Also, housing issues. Sometimes a protection order or criminal record may affect your ability to secure housing. There are some landlords that will conduct background checks, and a negative record could result in the denial of a rental application. Also, firearm restrictions. Depending on the nature of this complaint and any associated criminal charges, you can face restrictions on firearm ownership and possession. So how can we persuade the court to modify, appeal, or dismiss it? Talk to that attorney. Seek the assistance. Like I said, you can do it on your own, but there are deadlines and legalese, certain verbiage that should be used, and case law. When you're presenting, case law is changes over time, where they take a case and you can utilize what that opinion, which is the outcome. So different opinions change over time, or maybe you could form new case law and gather evidence, collect any evidence that contradicts the allegations that are made against you. And like I said, it can be witness statements, relevant documents, emails, text messages. Document any communication you've had with that person. Sometimes photos work too. And if it demonstrates a lack of threat or harm. Identify legal grounds. Work with an attorney to identify what legal grounds you have for modification, to change it or appeal it, or even just a complete dismissal. The end goal would be to have just a nice dismissal. This can include showing lack of evidence, procedural errors. Now, procedural errors, that's what we want to avoid. That's why it's really good to have an attorney. Or even if there's just a change in circumstances, could cause them to dismiss it or modify it. So you're going to need to have your attorney or yourself file a motion with the court requesting your request for modification, appeal, or dismissal of this protection order. It's a formal request outlining the legal basis for your request. So if there are changed circumstances, whether it's improved relationships, completion of counseling, making sure to highlight these in the motion that you put through. Prepare for a hearing. Schedule that hearing and bring your evidence and address the specific reasons outlined in your motion and demonstrate why modification or dismissal is warranted. So during this hearing, your attorney will present this evidence, cross-examine the witness, and argue on your behalf. It's important to clearly articulate why the protection order should be modified or dismissed based on legal grounds. Appeal if necessary. If the court doesn't rule in your favor, consult with your attorney. And remember, they do have rules and deadlines, but what can we do towards our false accuser if they have tried to destroy our life? It's up to you. Pick your battles. There could be retaliation. Some people get quite violent, but these are some potential avenues. Criminal complaint. You can file a criminal complaint against the false accuser, may be possible if their actions meet the criteria for a criminal offense, such as making false statements to law enforcement, perjury, which is lying under oath. Consult with a law enforcement or prosecutor to determine whether criminal charges are warranted. So perjury, when we lie, if the false accuser made false statements under oath during legal proceedings, such as that court hearing or deposition. Deposition is what is kind of fact-finding before the hearing. Perjury charges can be applicable. Perjury laws do vary by jurisdiction. Talk to your attorney, understand the specific elements required for a perjury charge. And they also have to believe you're stating, they have to believe it was a lie from the other person. Defamation lawsuit. So in civil court deals with torts, criminal court deals with criminals and convictions. So as a tort, in civil court, you may consider filing a defamation lawsuit against the accuser. Defamation involves making false statements, and this is the important part, that harm a person's reputation. So even if it's a false statement, if there's no harm done, you're not going to win. You need to have some type of negativity to your life, some type of distress. Consult with the attorney to assess whether false statements meet the legal criteria for defamation in your jurisdiction. You might be able to do an IIED, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Also, malicious prosecution. If they initiated legal proceedings against you without a valid basis with malicious intent, that's important. They have to have bad intent, malicious intent. You can explore a malicious prosecution claim. Now, these laws vary, so we got to see if our case fits that criteria, which is different per jurisdiction. Abuse of process, you can claim abuse of process. It could be applicable if the false accuser misused legal proceedings for an improper person, such as harassment or intimidation. Talk to your attorney. So what else should we consider? Make sure that you keep communication records detailed against the person who filed these false communications. So if they're still reaching out to you, keep a record of that, but don't reply to them. Follow those court orders. Please, please do not hurt yourself more by feeling that you're in the right, so you shouldn't have to follow the court order. It's kind of not right, not fair. We'll put it that way, not fair. But sometimes we have to trust the process and follow the rules so we don't get in more trouble. Even if it feels unfair, you don't want to make things worse. Seek counseling or mediation. Sometimes a counselor can help you through this. Mediation to address the underlying issues. Sometimes something can be worked out, especially if you have children involved. Witness statements, keep those. Character references. Collect these from friends, family members, or colleagues who can speak to your reputation and behavior. Sometimes patterns make a big difference. Stay informed about your case. Keep up to date about legal proceedings. Understand the important dates, deadlines, and requirements for your court appearances. And consider those counterclaims. Preserve evidence relative to your case. Sometimes we need to hide the evidence or share it with others so they can have copies of it. Confidentiality and privacy, be mindful of the confidentiality and privacy aspects of your case. You want to avoid discussing details on social media or with individuals who may not have a legitimate need to know. Be very, very mindful of that. Sometimes we want to put our frustrations out on Facebook or whatever social media, but that can be to your detriment. Sometimes we have to let the process go through. Also, we don't want to make it more difficult. So stay composed. It can be emotionally challenging and difficult to try to remain composed throughout the legal process. Emotional outbursts or confrontations are only going to be to your detriment. So when you're going through this, sometimes it is a reaction to the abuse or the frustration or the anxiety. Stay as composed as you can, because part of your composure shows your character. So stay strong. Be as strong as you can, even when you're not. Let me know if there's anything more you would like to know about it. And hopefully you can get it dismissed, because it can have detrimental aspects onto your life, but sometimes it's just temporary. And do everything you can, and hopefully it'll be dismissed, but it's not the end of the world if it isn't. I wish life was fair. So have you guys gone through this? Please comment. I've gone through it. It's not always fair. It is not always fair, but you get through it. Thanks for watching. Topic requests are welcome. I try to make as many videos for you guys as I can. One-on-ones are also available to get more deep into your situation. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and share.